Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am a finance professor, but I'm also a Black man. I was a Black man first before I became anything else. And so this is the platform for intelligent Black people. So if you are Black and intelligent, then welcome to the show. If you're not Black and intelligent, then you may want to get the hell up out of here because this ain't the place for you. So anyway, do me a favor as you come in. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what city you're coming from also. I'd like to know what cities you guys are from. So shout out your city. Hey, Emmanuel, you are first, Emmanuel. Yes, you are. B1, hashtag B1. B1 means that you're Black first. B1 means that we understand that to be successful, we must be one, and we must support each other. And also, we must also remember to be Black first. Everything else is horizontal. Everything else is coincidental. Everything else has little meaning. So, hey, Anthony Washington, how are you? So anyway, okay, let's get started. Shout out your city as you come in. Shout out the city, your business, whatever it is you want to shout out. Janelle, how are you from St. Louis? Hit the thumbs up button as you come in. Please hit that thumbs up button. Share this video. Hey, Sherwin, how are you from Brooklyn? I see you in there. All right, so let me just show you guys something. I'm gonna just cut to the chase, and I'm gonna pull up a picture that's a little bit crazy, almost borderline embarrassing for me to pull this picture up, but I think it's something worth kind of taking a look at because there's lessons in everything. I woke up this morning, maybe about 5:30 a.m., which is kind of early to wake up, you know, when it's a Saturday and ain't no white man forcing you to get up. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. And I'm going to show you a couple of pictures and then I'm going to show these pictures again repeatedly because I want everybody to see them as they come into the conversation because the whole focus of this discussion is around these pictures. So first picture I want to show you is this. So bam, there you go. Check that out. So I want you to look at this and I want you to try to guess which guy in this picture is Boyce. Which guy in this picture is Boyce? Not to talk about myself in the third person, but let me know which one is me in here. And you could probably guess pretty quickly, but if you can't, I'm going to help you out. So I'm over here. I'm the one on the far left or far right, depending on which angle you're looking at. This is Kenny. Kenny was a friend of mine who was a very, very fast sprinter. And the reason we're making these crazy faces is because Kenny and I were rivals. I think I beat Kenny once. And the day I beat him, he was absolutely, absolutely pissed because he wasn't used to me beating him, but I was his main competition. This is Toby. Toby was my homeboy, my brother from another mother. You know, he was a cool dude. He taught me a lot about white people because I would go to his house and his parents would use like really long words at the dinner table. And his sister would do stuff that only white people do with their parents, like, you know, call her mom a fucking bitch or you know, things like that. Things that literally would have led to the death penalty in my house. But anyway, I digress. And this is Wesley. Wesley, track wasn't his thing. Let's just say that. Wesley was a guy that just kind of came to practice and you know, yeah, he wasn't going to win that race. But anyway, why do I show that picture? Well, you know, because it made me. I saw it this morning on an old track on a site for my old track team, and it just made me sort of reflect on things that happened, you know, in the past. You know how you see an old picture and you start thinking about your previous life and the things you've done and gone through and stuff like that. So that kind of happened, and so I'm scrolling down the page. And in the midst of all the, you know, in the midst of seeing this picture and a few other interesting pictures, I also found another picture that really, once I really thought about it, was very telling, very compelling. Now, let me show you this picture. This is the second picture. I'm also in this one. Okay, so here's this picture. So let me tell you who's in this picture. That's me in the front, if you can't tell. And we're wearing our medals. We're wearing our medals. You know, we're four proud Black male teenagers who just won some shit. So, you know, we're feeling good about ourselves, you know, whatever. And on this side in the black is Greg Wilkins. Greg Wilkins was my best friend. He was my best friend back in Louisville, Kentucky. And Louisville, as you know, is a city that's going through a lot of crazy unrest right now as it pertains to police brutality and stuff like that and police misconduct. Well, I've been pissed off at the Louisville police for a long time. Mainly because they, you know, didn't, when my friend Greg right here was killed at the age of 25, and he was shot in the head in front of his daughter, I felt the police did a piss poor job of investigating his murder, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. And the other two guys are Monty Hobbs here and a guy named Reggie Wilkins, who was the brother of Greg. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, because I started thinking about, like a lot of us might do, right? Greg was my homeboy back in the day. It broke my heart when he was murdered by literally some dudes that didn't even know him. They broke in his house and they were looking for some drug money, and he didn't have any drug money because he didn't deal drugs. And they shot him in the head in front of his 3-year-old daughter, Jasmine. And I've kept in touch with Jasmine through the years, and because every time I think about that whole experience, it's like it happened yesterday. And one thing I remember was that the week that Greg got killed, and I'm gonna try to zoom in on this picture a little bit. Hopefully I won't mess it up. The weekend that Greg got killed, or actually it was right before Thanksgiving, I think right after Tupac died. We were all the same age as Tupac. And right after Tupac died, that was when my friend got murdered. The week he was killed, I remember noticing that there were a few things going on that are very relevant today. One was the police just did not give a fuck. The police didn't really investigate. They didn't really look into it. They just assumed, oh, this was, another dead nigga, one black man killing another. And so they didn't put any energy into the investigation. And even though the family members had a strong idea of who committed the homicide, the police didn't even go very far in terms of actually getting an arrest, a conviction, or anything. Because if you don't investigate a crime, it's going to be hard to get a conviction. That was the first thing. The second thing was the same week that my friend died, my friend got murdered in front of his daughter, shot in the head in front of his daughter. There was a white woman on the other side of town who lived in the suburbs of Louisville, who was a banker. And when this white woman got killed on her way to work, the news covered it incessantly. Like they were obsessed with it. They covered it every single day. And they felt bad for her because she had a family. My friend had a daughter, but that didn't matter to them. They talked about what a good person she was. Well, my friend Greg was a really good guy. If you'd known him, you would have liked him. They talked about how valuable her life was and how her life mattered. Well, my friend's life, his life mattered. Black lives mattered even back in 1996. I know that we just figured that out in 2018 or something, but Black lives have always mattered to me. And I remember that the whole city was kind of obsessed with finding out who killed this white woman who died the same week, I think even the same day as my friend Greg. They held candlelight vigils all over the city. The local news station had a $25,000 reward for the capture or something, or information leading to the arrest of the killer. They did a whole lot of stuff for this white woman that nobody did for my friend Greg. And I remember that was the first time I really started noticing how Black lives don't matter to other people, especially the lives of Black men. Black lives, we know for a long time have never mattered. And that was kind of a wake-up call. That was kind of a thing where I said, holy shit. Like, the thing about being Black sometimes is that you get tricked into believing this integrationist fantasy that you've achieved equality and that people are going to be nice to you, people are going to love you, and that, that anything that happens in your life is going to be determined by whether or not, you're a good person. And then you find out that's not true. You get in your 20s and then real life hits you in the ass. And you're like, oh my God, wait, you mean white people still are white? They haven't changed. They're still racist, all that other stuff. But here's the other side of that coin. When I thought about my friend's life years later, that was how I felt when I was 25. Now, how do I feel now? Well, I thought about it and I said, Black lives matter, and nobody should know that Black lives matter more than Black people, right? When that woman had, a candlelight vigil, her community got together and pulled together that vigil. Right? Black people didn't do that vigil for her. They didn't wait for Black people to decide that her life mattered. They decided her life mattered, and they empowered themselves to move forward and do a candlelight vigil. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do a candlelight vigil. When the $25,000 reward was put up, that was put up by her community because her community cared about her enough to do that. They weren't waiting for another community to do what they could do for themselves. So the biggest thing I learned from that experience is that Black lives matter for sure, but Black lives have to matter for us. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, But the very same week that we were talking about the death of George Floyd, 18 people, there was a 24-hour period where 18 people were murdered in Chicago in one day. 18 people. 18 people whose lives mattered as much as George Floyd, as much as the white man down the hall. 18 people were killed. I'm talking about hardworking fathers, little children, teenagers with their whole life in front of them. And the whole nation just kind of ignored it. Nobody really cared. Nobody really paid attention. Even the mayor of Chicago, I don't think, really had a lot to say about it. She had a lot to say about the protests, but she didn't have a lot to say about the homicides happening in her city. She talks about it a little bit, but never really solves the problem, right? It's not as important to her as, coronavirus or something, right? Right. 8 people die from coronavirus, and that's worth 10 press conferences. 25 black people get shot and murdered in our city. That's kind of like, yeah, that kind of happens all the time because black people die. You know how that goes. And so I just want to encourage you to understand that in order for Black lives to matter for everybody, they have to matter for us. So that means that when you have homicides that are happening in your community, you shouldn't just sort of only think the homicides matter because the person was killed by a cop, right? If a black person is killed in a way that doesn't fit some sort of politicized narrative, you can't sort of decide, well, those deaths don't matter. That's not important. Because if you're talking about really loving black people, really protecting black people, you've got to protect black people from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And I will just say this. The people that murdered my friend Greg in front of his daughter and took her father away forever, those people in my mind are every bit as bad as the Ku Klux Klan. There are very few Klan members who could piss me off more than the black men who murdered my friend, And so, so with that said, I think that's something that crossed my mind. I think it's important for us as people to understand the importance of being empowered in terms of who we are. I think it's very important for us to also, realize that our fate and our destiny is in our hands. And if we don't realize that, then we're never going to feel complete. We're never going to feel successful. So I just wanted to take that moment to commemorate my friend Greg. His name was Greg Wilkins. You would have liked him. He was a very good guy, very smart guy, just my buddy. And that's what I thought about this morning when I woke up. So thank you guys for indulging me, letting me share that story. I hope that helps you. Also, thank you to those of you who came to Black Movie Night last night. It was hugely successful. Thousands of you came by. We had a really great conversation about the Malcolm X speech, the ballot or the bullet. The next one, I'm going to do an analysis of House Negro, Field Negro, that speech. So we're going to watch that speech. I'm going to put that on the schedule. If you want to register for Black Movie Night for the next one, go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. Okay, guys. So I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys have a good day. And somebody says, have you actually read what the Black Lives Matter movement is really all about? Yeah, it's not. I agree with you 100%. It's not what you think it is. I like the concept. It's almost like the way a lot of us respond to the ADOS movement. A lot of people have an issue with the leadership of the ADOS movement and the way it was executed, but you can still claim the designation of ADOS without necessarily identifying with the movement. So I don't identify with the Black Lives Matter movement in a lot of ways. But if you ask me, do I think Black Lives Matter? Do I identify with the concept? The answer is absolutely yes. So I identify with the concept, but I'm not necessarily going to be part of that particular movement because I know it comes with a lot of extra baggage that was attached, largely because somebody funded it from outside of our community. George Soros and his buddies provided the funding, and when somebody else is paying the bills, they're going to drive the direction of the organization. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Please hit the thumbs up button before you go. And don't forget, if you haven't learned to buy your first share of stock yet, I want you all to become investors. So go to firstshareofstock.com. There's a free training there. That's firstshareofstock.com. So take care, guys. Have a good day. And thanks for hanging out. I'll see you soon. Peace.